Yeah. Tune in, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, I said the end, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, I don't friendly straight the plot. Or when I'm stand up for the stone, I live my life. Been east to rich, when east and they stippling, I make it thighs. But the schoolies never bet for me, my dough is still for thighs. I'm the horn, niggas know they cute too, I keep out the bone. But let's get it, you know my me and miss be up the show. And when I see a nigga smile, you will stay up front. And if they got me know, then I, you know I did the con. Cue up the icon, I see the fact. This ain't I'm busy, but I hate I wake, so what I pack. I keep a searing in the rain, then I smoke as trash. And if I get I'll keep a far, I know some plenty, yeah. Taking trash to this card from my reason to living. All the flu on the blend, that resending you reeling. Next geeking out of love, I might never be willing. Bitch, you'll never know what you I can never forget. But tune in, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, I 7 in, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, you know by now it's on the line of people, but you never know this name is Kanana sequel. Spick it fresh, taken down, so decide the needle. Put down, stay the time to line like you want the needles. And if you hate when I like the brown, it's like your cam in the ground till they come now. But like I'm so fresh up and through the moose confused. And now I know what's up and noon and that was all fuck you. Say you never lose stakes, it's native hurricane. I was go always not a like a bagel, drink your face. But I was thinking to his soul when I was by the cover. And now I rain, man, I name like the make whatever. I say kablim, flame mind, you gave me no resistance. This nut so hard, go within and never missing. Convinced that you me love me now, but store and never tripping. It's the enemies of all, boy, yo come and get tripping. Tune in, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream. Yeah, I say the in, vibe high, it's GPTV1. Live stream the trends, let the exploration run. Hip hop beats, we're on the scene. Catch the buzz, live your dream.
Live your dream. Back in the building. I want to welcome y'all back to GPTV1 live stream Wednesday edition. Like I told y'all, I'm trying to stick to a regular schedule. So right now, I'll be live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I got a lot of hot stuff I'm going to cover on this episode. Some of the things I will be covering. I got the Diddy trial update. And I saw an interesting story that happened up there in Baltimore. I want to look into that story. And then I want to update on these ICE protests. And we're going to get into some current affairs. You're looking at listening to GPTV1. I like to see what's going on around the world. I like to see what's going on in these other ethnic groups and see what's going on in their communities. So I'm gonna look at a little bit of current affairs. And right now I want to give a community highlight to John Doe, GI9YU. That's John Doe dash GI9YU. But before we get to those hot topics, big headlines, I want y'all to check out this public announcement. I'll be right back with y'all, fam. Welcome to the GP Inner Circle. What up, though, GP fam? I'm excited to announce that the GP membership is now officially active. This is your chance to step up and show your support in a way that truly matters. By joining the Inner Circle, you will unlock exclusive perks tailored just for the most dedicated supporters, because you deserve nothing less. But that's not all. The Super Chat feature is now live, giving you an even greater opportunity to engage with me and the community in real time. Your support fuels my passion and creativity, inspiring me to deliver the kind of fire content that only the GP fam deserves. So why wait? Join the GP membership today and be a part of something special. Let's elevate this community together, because when you thrive, we all thrive. Welcome to the Inner Circle. Your journey starts now. Much love. Yeah, I'm back with y'all. And if you're feeling generous, you can send a little something to my Cash App. And you can go to the GP store and check out some of the merch over there and create and update some of the designs. But I encourage y'all to go get one of those no self-snitching t-shirts. I think a lot of people need to go to the GP store and grab one of those no self-snitching t-shirts. That's a fact. Because I see a lot of stuff self-snitching been going on over the internet all the time. I did a story, the live I did Monday, where this guy got 35 years. And a lot of this stuff had to do with his own self-snitching. You know what I'm saying? P. Diddy is what's popping today. And the debate is still going on whether this is a RICO act or not, or a RICO charge or a RICO case. That's what everybody is questioning, and they seem to think that will be the hardest charge to prove in this case. Somebody asked me earlier, what do I think about this case? I said, I'm a little older guy, you know what I'm saying? So I come from Tupac and Biggie era. So I do believe he's responsible for those guys passing away. So people bring up this sexual case, but I haven't got past the Tupac part yet, you know. And I just think they always wanted to get this guy on this Tupac stuff. You know, I just believe this is a lot of karma that's really just catching up with this guy. But it's in question whether it's a RICO charge or not. I think everybody across the board is questioning that. So I did an interview with a guy called Pink Suit. I also got many requests to cover his story. Well, I'm like, I interviewed him directly out of the feds. You can go to my playlist and actually check that interview out. It's on my channel right now. His name is Tory Sims, Pink Suit. The intriguing thing about him is he got caught up in that BMF RICO. So he got 30 years in prison. He got the same amount of time as Big Meech and Southwest T. But the leaders of BMF are out of the federal system, and he's still in there right now. So he got caught up on that RICO charge, and he was very respectful towards those guys, even though they don't communicate with him or anything. He ain't got no connection to no BMF or former BMF or anything. But in his case, and just like Big Meech's case, they brought up people they really didn't know. They put them people on the stand. My man got 30 years for that. So that's the thing when you're dealing with the feds. It's just a whole different ballgame. And the prosecution rests their case, and the defense didn't call any witnesses. So many people question where are all these people that's supposed to be character witnesses for this guy. But I seen Judge Mathis had said that he didn't call any witness because the defense believed they didn't prove their case. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not picking either side. I'm letting the court, let it play out in the courts and leave it up to the jury. But I still want to do a little update on P. Diddy. So let's see what's popping with P. Diddy. Let me share my screen. Share the screen. You're stepping in the building, click that like button and click that subscribe button. And make sure you click the notification bell. I'm really trying to build my notification alerts back up. But let's share the screen right here and see what's going on with Diddy. This is a recap. And by the way, when it comes to this trial right here, until the jury start deliberating, it'll be a lot of theories out there concerning this case because it makes up a good debate and it makes up a good content. It's going to be going on forever.
Trafficking trial, a federal agent was the last witness of the case. Sean Combs also said he is not going to testify. Here are the highlights from both the prosecution and defense counsel as they rested their case.
Both sides rested their case.
And then January 1st of 2022 at 7:50 p.m. UTC time, Jane writes, "Are you free to travel today? Would love to have you," with 4 heart emojis, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then there's an attachment missing but I think you testified yesterday that JPEG indicates it's probably a photo, right?
Most likely, yes.
Okay.
So
And
this
she
is
says,
coming from Court
"Here's your flight
TV.
info!" Exclamation point. "I'll have hotel info later tonight. Excited to see you." And how does
I
he
want to get this
respond?
from somewhere else.
Excited to see you as well, love. And 2
I
heart-kissing
really don't want to go
emojis.
through a script right here.
Okay. Could we go to page 119, please?
So I don't want to
Okay.
go through those scripts. I'm going to start sharing my screen on that one. And I'll find me another update when it comes to Diddy. So I don't want to go through no script. Let me see what other kind of update they got. That's a court script that's coming out of the court. I'm pretty sure all that stuff is accurate. Let me see what else I can dig up on Diddy as far as an update. And I'm not even going to spend a lot of time on this. Here's another case I'm going to be looking at soon, is Brian Kohlberger. I'm not digging into it yet. And I'm definitely going to do it on a live stream. Let me see, Diddy. Matter of fact, it was some reports out there talking about the prosecution dropped some charges. But then there's other reports saying they didn't drop the charges. But right now, they're going through how they're going to present this to the jury. And the jury going to get their guidelines. And then they start the deliberation. So most of these updates are coming from some hours ago. Since they rest their cases, probably nothing going to be going on in that courtroom today. Let's look at this girl right here. If it was up to this woman, she'd be convicted right now. She's straight. It's the homegirl, Nancy Grace. She be tripping. Let me share what she talking about. This is not a Diddy update.
This as Diddy doubles down on the gamble of a lifetime, betting against the state and calling out a single defense witness to defend him in front of that jury. The new Diddy defense, wait for it,
epiphany.
Blame Iran. Yes,
Diddy.
That's the Diddy defense. Blame Iran. They're the real threat and stay out of Diddy's bedroom. Okay. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is my
something
story.
cold to drink.
I want to thank you for being with us.
I'm just gonna play a little bit of this.
Joining us live at the courthouse, Tisa Tells, investigator and star of Tisa Tells on YouTube. She's been in the courtroom
Yeah, I
from
like
the get-go,
Tisa Tells.
along with our Sydney Sumner, Crime
She
Stories
got a big
investigative
following,
reporter.
too.
Tisa, what a day in the courtroom. Is it true?
This is past 10.
Sean Combs has decided, in his wisdom, not to call a single defense witness.
Not only has he decided not to call a single defense witness, he is now saying that his day of defense will be him literally reading, his attorneys reading text messages half-heartedly. This has been the ultimate bait and switch. They promised us 4 weeks, shows and ponies, probably goats running around the courtroom, anything to distract. And in less than a couple weeks, interestingly enough, after juror 6 got kicked off, now they don't even want to call anybody to the stand. Not one accountant, not one employee, not one anything. Very interesting timing.
Man, nobody finna get up on that stand with him.
Why can't I make any changes without an admin
Nobody gonna
approval?
get on that stand.
You should
You would
try
think
Monday.com.
You would think
Straight
that.
out to Eric.
You would think that. No employees, no bodyguards, no accountants. None of his people is standing up saying this all was consensual. That's questionable. But anyway, it still could be that he's confident in his case. I'm just playing a little snippet of Nancy Grace. I just like her. She's very entertaining, in my opinion.
Faddis joining us, veteran trial lawyer, TV legal analyst, founding partner Varner Faddis, elite legal, former felony prosecutor. Faddis, that is a big gamble. Now, I said on day one, I think you fought with me about this, that the defense always claims, oh, we're going to have 4 weeks of testimony. It's going to be grueling. Then suddenly it's 2 weeks. Now,
It's always a bad idea for the defendant to get on the stand, but sometimes people do that.
it's 2 days, and in the last hours, it's nothing. They're putting up nothing. That is a very big gamble. It's a gamble of a lifetime for Sean Combs.
Yeah.
It's a bold move for sure. I mean, I think a lot of people were expecting kind of a counter narrative from the defense in this case. It sounds like we're pretty much not going to hear that. What it looks like is the defense is contending that, hey, the prosecution has the burden here. It's their job to put on the evidence. They have failed woefully, according to the defense, and the defense really doesn't need to do
It's
anything
showing
more.
confidence.
They've established what they need to through cross-examination,
This is showing major confidence.
through highlighting some of these text messages that they
And let's keep it 1,000. Diddy actually got some good lawyers. Let's keep it 1,000.
show consent, and so they're gonna kind of give it a
I'm not picking either side. I'm not gonna say this guy guilty or anything. I'm gonna let the jury do that.
report to this jury in about a day or so.
Eric Faddis, let me see Faddis. Faddis, of course, there's going to be a huge, long, extremely painful and boring charge conference. The charge conference occurs just...
That's what's going on right now. This is what people getting that confused where they dropping charges and all that type stuff. They going through all of this, what she's explaining.
before closing arguments. And in a charge conference, both sides, the state and the defense, submit jury charges to the judge. What are jury charges? Those are the instructions where the judge literally reads the law verbatim to the jury, the law by which they are to judge this case. They'll get a charge on sex trafficking. They'll get a charge on coercion. They'll get a charge on everything that Sean Combs is charged with. They'll get a charge on reasonable doubt, presumption of innocence.
They're gonna break all that down.
Permutation of the law that can apply to this case on credibility. The burden is on the state. They'll also get a charge, Faddis,
The burden is clearly on the prosecution.
on the defendant's right to remain silent. And they're going to be told if the defendant doesn't
Diddy got rights.
testify, you cannot hold that against him. Okay? We all know that's coming. But the reality, Faddis, the reality is when the defense stands up and says, Your Honor, the defense rests in front of the jury, they're going to be going like, what?
That's a bold move. That's a bold move and confident.
He's not going to take the stand. He's got nothing to say. You know they're thinking that, Faddis.
Without question, that's got to be going on in these jurors' minds. Look, they're going to get this instruction that says, hey, Diddy has a constitutional right not to testify, and he elects to exercise
That's his right.
that right. The jury cannot hold that against him. Jurors are human beings, though. You know, think about if a parent has two kids and there's cookies missing from the cookie jar. You want to hear from both kids. You want to hear both sides. You want to hear sort of the reasons and any sort of corroboration.
I want to say something about this baby oil. When they start mentioning these baby oils and all that stuff, Diddy was basically recording porn. And people who does porn, they use baby oil. So we can get that out of our heads that having all this baby oil is strange. That's not strange when you're doing porn. Let's go.
Evidence that supports either side, but in a courtroom, it's just a different scenario. And Diddy is not going to testify. It would be perilous for him to do that. And so, will these jurors be able to follow that instruction?
Yeah, they
and
keep
not
focusing on all this baby oil and all this stuff. They paint this picture like this. This is strange. Again, when you're doing porn, this is not strange. People, they use plenty of baby oil and porn and all that type stuff. Let's go.
hold that against Diddy, saying, hey, I want to hear from that guy. I want to hear his story.
Yeah, and you know what? They're going to think in their heads, if he's telling the truth, why?
All right, let's stop sharing that. I just wanted to give a little small update on this Diddy trial. And again, they keep highlighting this baby oil and all that stuff like I'm past all that. I ain't thinking about that baby oil. But the question still remains that across the board, I mean, all kind of analysts, former mob guys, people that been through RICOs, they all questioning, is this a RICO charge? I don't know. What do y'all think? You stepping in the building, click that like button and click that subscribe button. I want to move on to this other story. This story is quite shocking right here. There's something happened up there in Baltimore, with a 70-year-old woman got shot. And I want to go to that news story. I want to read a little bit of it too. Where it said, Baltimore police officially fatally shoots woman, 70, who lunged with knife. But this woman going through something, I just said, was she going through some type of mental health issue? The Baltimore police fatally shot a 70-year-old woman who lunged at them during a mental health call Wednesday inside a residence in West Baltimore. Commissioner Richard Worley said in a media briefing at the scene. And when people get off that medicine, they can become unhinged. That's for sure. You know, I used to rent out property and all that type of stuff, and dealing with property and managing property, I would run into people that got those mental health issues. And it make you have a weapon. They definitely become unhinged. And the police had to come deal with that. So the shooting, the second by police in West Baltimore in little more than a week, took place in the 2700 block of Mosher Street. That was the second shooting that involved police officers in West Baltimore. So I got Baltimore. It's a cool city. I've been up there. It's kind of rough up there too. They definitely got a rough side. There's an underbelly up there for sure. I rode through the hoods and whatever, seen the tall grass and all that. So it was rough around there for real. But I had a good time down there. Police and fire officials responded to 2 calls for service just after 2:30 p.m. and were informed that a woman inside needed assistance and might be experiencing a behavioral health crisis. I wonder what the police, what's their protocol for dealing with that? Because I had to call the police on the lady before. They were able to handle her, but still, they had to come deal with her. For her safety, officers were attempting to get her into custody and get her to a hospital for treatment. When officers reached the door, they observed the woman holding a knife. The commissioner said the officers told her several times to drop the knife, but she did not do so. But she probably wouldn't understand what they was talking about. When she lunged towards officers in hand, they attempted to subdue her with the taser, but it was ineffective. The woman continued to lunge forward. Officers continued to give verbal commands in an attempt to de-escalate the situation and exit the house. But after an officer fell over a chair to the floor, she lunged at him with the knife, and the second officer behind that one fired, striking her. The department does not know how many shots were fired. Okay, now I'm getting a more clearer picture on this situation. The woman was taken to a hospital where she was declared dead. Yeah, that sounds like some self-defense stuff on the police behalf. At least how this report is explaining it. But you know how the officers, they can twist their stories up. I'm thinking, why y'all ain't just shoot her in the leg or something like that? I think this is a nationwide crisis, and unfortunately, too many of them end up with use of force. Yeah, I mean, mental health issues is a crisis, definitely that. You know, doctors and hospitals and these clinics and all that stuff, they definitely overwhelmed. And a lot of homeless people have mental health issues. The shooting follows a deadly exchange involving police just over a week ago. They shook communities in West Baltimore after authorities fatally shot a former robber outside the Upton subway station. What is a robber? Araber, whatever that is. I'm gonna have to look into that. Abdullah reaching for a firearm and apparently firing it as a pursuing officer began to tackle the 36-year-old. Three officers then fired a total of 38 rounds at Abdullah, who died later that night. One officer was shot in the foot. Man, they shot this dude 38 times. They fired 38 rounds at him. You don't say he was hit 38 times. So that's the second time in a week police was involved in the shooting in Baltimore. But this woman seems like she has some type of mental health issue going on there. So they're going to investigate that. But I want to look at this little story right here right quick. Man, Baltimore police shooting was the face of a rabbit. What is that? Never heard of that. That's some stuff going on up there in Baltimore. I just want to take a quick look at this story right there. Thank y'all for joining me right here on GPTV1 live stream. We'll be going live every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, covering some of the hottest topics out there, hottest stories that's out there right now. And I'm sticking into some current affairs. Like I don't want to just be looking and seeing what's going on in the hood and all this stuff. I want to see what's going on with Trump. You know what I'm saying? I want to see what's going on with these other ethnic groups and all that type stuff. As a matter of fact, those ICE raids, I haven't heard a lot about that. I wonder what's going on with that. ICE raids. But let me play a little bit of this story about this woman up there in Baltimore. As a matter of fact, let me share my screen really quick. Let me go back to that story. Let me share my screen. Let's see what the news report says. If you're in the building, click that like button. I want to thank you for joining me. This is Wednesday's edition.
Just a short time ago, Police Commissioner Worley talked about what happened here. We're going to show you the scene right now. This is what it looks like here in the 2700 block of Mosher Street, just at Ashburton Street. We have some video also of this whole situation. We know right now that a 70-year-old woman is dead. Police came to the 2700 block of Mosher Street around 2:30 this afternoon. They had received a couple of calls about a woman experiencing a mental health crisis. When officers arrived, she brandished a knife, according to police, and officers tried to talk to the woman several times. She was told to put that knife down as they tried to de-escalate the situation. Here's what Commissioner Richard Worley tells us about what happened.
Damn.
We tried to talk to her. The fire department personnel tried to talk to her. That was not able to de-escalate the situation. And then it was determined that she was a danger to herself, several indications. So when the officers went in, they tased her. The taser normally has effect. It looks like she was affected.
In a lot of cases, these people be going through these conditions. Their family don't be messing with them like that. They just be leaving them anywhere.
For maybe a second, and then she got up and lunged towards the officer again, at which time he tried to exit the house and fell over a chair. A second officer tried to de-escalate with his taser, and then the woman unfortunately lunged towards the officer on the ground with the knife, and the third officer shot.
Yeah.
Now that officer fired at least 2 shots, according to police.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that news report right there about that 70-year-old woman. Yeah. So let me get back to what I was looking for on here. Oh, okay, the ICE. So it said courts allows Trump to restart swift deportation of migrants. A lot of people is actually supportive of this. They talk all that stuff. You know, you got radical people on the left and the right, but a lot of people are supporting the moving the undocumented immigrants, however you want to label them. Here go another update on that. Let me share my screen with this one. Let me share the screen. Hold on. Let me switch over. Cancel that. We're going. Yeah, let's go here. Let me share my screen. That's Trump. He went to the summit. We're gonna play some of that. Actually, I look at current affairs for sure. I want to know what's popping out here because all this stuff affects us. Literally. Let me see. Let me share my screen right here. Let's see what they say about courts restarting this.
All right, developing news from the Supreme Court. The court will allow President Trump to resume fast deportations to third countries. The plan sends migrants to countries that are not their country of origin. 3 justices dissented. A judge in Boston had blocked a May flight with migrants sent to Sudan, Africa. The group included people from Cuba and Myanmar, who reportedly had serious U.S. criminal records. The Trump administration says those deportations will continue.
President Trump and his NATO counterparts are...
Here's the thing. When they move all these immigrants out of the way, you got to get somebody to fill in those jobs.
gathering this week for what might be a historic summit. It also could drive a wedge among the 32 member countries. Just a week ago, things had seemed rosier. The NATO Secretary General was optimistic for an agreement to dedicate 5% of GDP to defense spending. Then Spain rejected the new target, calling it unreasonable. The following day, the President of the United States said that America should not have to respect the goal. On Sunday, he ordered the bombing of nuclear installations in Iran, which could dominate that summit. Questions also remain over Ukraine's place at the meeting. After 29 days of testimony, prosecutors are wrapping up their case against Sean Diddy Combs. Diddy's defense team is not expected to call any of their own witnesses. They believe prosecutors have not.
We didn't cover the Diddy stuff, so let me come out of there. So they're going to keep going on with the ICE. But like I said, there's people out there that supports the ICE raids. So I make a lot of shorts about that stuff and just going by what's going on in the comment section. And shouts out to the people I've been chatting with. I got quite a few chats going on. They've been going on for a few years now because people still listening to the past stuff. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful people going back and still listening to that stuff and people still finding it. Oh man, I always knock my lamp over, but people still exploring those stories, even though I did it 3-4 years ago. And believe it or not, the conversation is still going on. The chat is still going on right now today for the past 3 years on at least 4 or 5 different stories. So right now, I just created a new playlist, and it's covering financial scandals. Go and check out that one I did about $550 million bribery scandal with the U.S. aid office. Go check that out. I got a couple of videos up there. So I started a new playlist. I'm looking at this stuff like it's Tubi or stuff, something like that. So I'm just trying to put as much content as I can and then come back and work the videos. We're pretty close to 8,000 subscribers. I'm thankful for all the new subscribers. And we're marching straight to 10,000. Marching straight to 10,000 subscribers. And also, talking about investments and money and all that stuff, I bought me some of them Trump crypto. Yeah, I bought me some of that crypto today. I got a lot of crypto and all that stuff. That's why I'm going to keep building this channel up. And me and some of the members, we're going to be on there talking about making some dough. And it be members only. I'm not going live and all that. But I'm definitely into the investing and all that. So, but anyway, that's going on with the ICE stuff. I haven't seen any news or updates about any protests this week. They was lighting it up really for the past couple weeks. And I really want to get into that NATO summit with this dude Trump and see what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? So let me check and see if there are any more protests going on. ICE raid protesters. Literally haven't been getting no notifications about that. So all these little stories from like a couple days ago. Video shows immigration agents detaining Iranian. Oh, I saw this story. That's one of the shorts I did. And I got a few comments on that. I want to share that. Let me share this one right here. This is about the Iranians. Let me share that. I definitely shared that as a short on the channel. And it's still going right now. Prop it up. Make sure I got the right one. And then we're going to get on over there to more current affairs. I look at current affairs. Like I said, I'm a professional journalist. I went to school for this. Definitely that. Is this it? Oh, hold on. I ain't even clicked on it yet. All right. Showing a little commercial, but I'm ready to share my screen. And this is with some Iranians. Let me share my screen on this one. All right. I definitely came across this story right here. I want y'all to check this one out.
Iranian religious asylum seekers detained in West LA this week by federal immigration agents. KCAL's Joy Benedict spoke to the pastor who recorded video of one of the heartbreaking arrests we're about to show you.
Why are you taking him?
It's an image becoming too familiar.
He's asylum seeker.
It doesn't matter, sir. We're just following orders. He's got a warrant.
A man in West LA is taken into custody by Border Patrol agents. But this week, their target seems to be expanding.
They came from persecution, from dictatorship. I'm from Iran. I'm from Iran.
This video was shot by their pastor.
My God.
I think some of those guys got like criminal records over there in Iran and all that. So, yeah, let's play some more of that. At least that's what was reported.
Tuesday morning.
And in million years, I will never imagine I can see this scene in America.
Aura Torosian is a pastor at Cornerstone Church in West LA, where he gives his Christian-based sermons in Farsi, as many in his congregation are Iranian nationals who fled.
Afraid about their life because there's lots of Iranian Christians, Muslim background, they're in prison. They're burning their business. They're putting them in jail. So I'm hoping the world will hear this and help our people.
This week alone, he says he's had 5 members of his congregation detained. First, a family of 3 on Monday, and Tuesday it was Reza Vidar, and then his wife, Marjan.
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
He says they all arrived in America about 6 months ago, hoping for a better life free from religious persecution in a country dominated by a Muslim regime.
Iran in last 2 decades is
All right, I'm not gonna go too far into that. I just wanted to share that. That's going on with all these raids and all this stuff. It's gonna keep going on. It's not about to stop. Trump is not about to stop that. He made that promise in his campaign. Let's move on to Trump. This NATO summit. Of course, he gave his speech. And I want to hear some of that speech. But before we get to that, I want to grab me something cold to drink. Y'all can grab y'all a snack. Grab y'all something cold to drink. And I'll be right back, fam. Yeah, I'm back in the building, Thank y'all for joining me. This is GPTV1 live stream. Wednesday edition. Step away and grab me something cold to drink. Hope y'all got y'all snacks. Hope you got you something cold to drink. Roll you up something, puff you something, whatever the case may be. Right here on GP. Like I said, I've been looking at a bunch of stuff. It's not just trying to keep my eyes on the hood and all that, you know. America, we're the entertainment for America. It's usually the negative connotation. So even with the P. Diddy trial, you know, just take that as a cautionary tale. It's something you can learn from. But I want to go to some of this speech this dude talking about this NATO summit. Let me share my screen. You're in the building, click that like button. Share my screen. And shouts out to Shay's Tube. Shouts out to Shay's Tube. Y'all go over and check her out. Subscribe to her channel. See what he says at this summit right here. Man, large that.
In the Netherlands, want to thank them for the royal treatment they've given us. Couldn't have been nicer. And it's a beautiful country. Really a beautiful country. Coming in, I saw the most beautiful trees. In fact, I want to bring some back with me. I want to also thank, I had breakfast this morning with the King and Queen, and they're incredible people. I said, you're central casting. Beautiful people, great people, big, beautiful heart. And
generous, send a little something to my Cash App. I appreciate it. Keeps the hustle going, keeps me thriving.
I enjoyed that. And also,
your support means everything to me.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, who's been terrific. He's been a friend of mine. Used to be right here running this wonderful country. Now he's the NATO Secretary General. He's doing a fantastic job. And the Prime Minister, we appreciate everything you've done. And as you know, last weekend, the United States successfully carried out a massive precision strike on Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities, and it was very, very successful. It was called obliteration. No other military on earth could have done it, and now this incredible
I'm not gonna play
exercise
the whole thing, just give him a little commentary as it goes along.
of American strength has paved the way for peace with a historic ceasefire agreement late Monday, and we call it the 12-day war. Spoke to a few people.
Some Iranian people over there, you know, they don't play fair. They not with that. They never been with just straight up warfare. They play guerrilla warfare. Let's go.
Well, I guess that just sounded like the right name. It was a 12-day war. And we think it's over. I don't think they're going to be going back at each other. I don't think so. Not only have we dealt decisively with the critical threat of Iran's nuclear program, which was what I wanted. I said, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I've said that for 15 years, long before I decided to do the political thing. But we've also reasserted the credibility of American deterrence, which is like no other. The people at NATO said there's never been anything. You know, I rebuilt the entire military during my first term. And we have a great military. We have great generals. I got to know the good ones and the bad ones. We kept the good ones. Over the past 2 days, I was honored to participate in the NATO leaders meeting and also had extremely good individual discussions with the King and the Queen, Secretary General Rutte, and the Prime Minister. Great discussions. Very knowledgeable people. Major focus of our conversations at the summit was the need for other NATO members to take up the burden of the defense of Europe, and that included the financial burden. As you know, it was 2%, and we got it up to 5%. And they said, a couple of them came up to me. One in particular said, "Sir, we've been trying to get it up to 3% for 20 years, and we haven't been able, and you got it up to 5%. So they're going to be, most of them, I guess, almost all of them.
President's going to talk about their accomplishments.
Going to be contributing now 5%, a number that people are surprised at, but you need it today. The United States accounts for 2/3 of all NATO defense spending, and since I began pushing for additional commitments in 2017.
I'm not going to play this whole thing. I'm just playing a little clip.
Believe it or not, our allies have increased spending by $700 billion.
Do you think this guy would start, what they say, the Third World War?
I said to people, you don't have any money, and a lot of them weren't paying. And so I started the process, and I picked it up as soon as I got back, which is 6 months ago. And following my election last November, almost all have accelerated plans to reach the 2%, 3%, 4%, and then ultimately, very quickly, 5%. And all of this is going to be done very quickly, almost immediately. You probably know this as well as I do. I'm sure they've been talking about it. It's really been a big focus. In a very historic milestone this week, the NATO allies committed to dramatically increase their defense spending to that 5% of GDP.
Okay, that's good. That's enough for you. We don't want to make this into, this is not a political channel, but I get a lot of political comments, for sure, definitely that. But again, I like to pay attention to what's going on in current affairs, and this is geopolitics right here. I mean, we just not just put it out over here. We smart, right? I got a smart audience, right? Yeah. But I do cover a lot of crime stories. The audience, that's what they originally here for. But all of it's cautionary tales. All of it. All of it. It's all cautionary tales. So let me see what else I can find what's going on with this Iran stuff. That's that speech he did with NATO. We want to move on from that NATO. Let me check that story out. Let me check one more quick look. Let me see. NATO, Israel, Saudi head choppers are hunting Christians. Yeah, that's the stuff I'm talking about. That's crazy right there. Yeah, them folks will chop you up over there. They don't play fair for sure. Definitely don't. But I'm not going to share that story. That's like some gruesome type stuff. I'm not into all that gruesome stuff. Grady Judd on record-breaking fentanyl bust in Polk County news conference. Let me see what this guy's talking about. Share that screen. I watch a lot of his interviews. Yeah, official.
Of fentanyl in the history of the ships. And this is all about remarkable work into the two largest drug cartels in Mexico. But before I do that, let me introduce to you, first and foremost, our prosecutor, Brian Haas, State Attorney for the 10th Judicial Circuit, and in my estimation, the finest prosecutor, not only in the state of Florida, but anywhere in the United States. 140,000 people died of fentanyl overdose deaths in the United States. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, it's an epidemic right now.
You can't count that high on your fingers and toes. 314,000 people in the United States.
Opioid really was the top drug choice. When it comes to cocaine, powder cocaine probably got popular like the 70s during the disco era. And then crack came along in the 80s, and crack became the top choice for drugs. But it always been opioids, and it seems to be back opioids.
United States
top
died of fentanyl overdose between 2018 and 2023. What's important to recognize that? Why it's important to recognize that is simply this. Do you see anyone in the United States up in arms about that. Anyone.
You screwed it up some.
These people are violent. These people want your money, and they don't care whether or not they take your life. So we start out with these two groups of very dangerous people delivering a very dangerous drug. This is not the only drug that they deal with, but we're going to focus on fentanyl today. I'll give you the 30,000 foot overview. It started in July of 24 with a fentanyl pill investigation.
Fentanyl pill. I need to do an episode
between July 24th to January of 25. There were 8 kilos of fentanyl pills, or 80,000 pills, that came in from Phoenix. They came across the border in Mexico to Phoenix and ultimately to us.
Whoa.
There were 6 operations during this total time with about 8 kilos of drugs that were seized.
80,000 pills.
And then in April 28th of 25, we seized 4 more kilos.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing it right there. I just found that story. But anyway, I want to thank y'all for joining me. It's always a pleasure to entertain the audience and perform for you all. Catch me this Thursday, same time, same channel. Gangsta's Paradise TV1 or GPTV1. And sooner or later, I'm just going to break it all down just to the acronyms GPTV1. I want to let you all know that I love you all. I appreciate your support. Y'all stay blessed out there, fam.